right? I think a lot of people is expecting me to damage control for some reason, but
that's what you do best.
Nah, never. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a long-awaited episode 4 of the Planet PlayStation podcast. We are a bit short-staffed today, so it's just me and Critic today. Hopefully, you guys do not mind, but it's a nice sunny day.
Show up. We'll see what happens.
Nice sunny day. Got a couple things to talk about. How you doing, Critic?
I'm doing good. I'm coming through clear.
You're coming through clear as day. Clear as day.
All right, cool.
And I am your host, Kid Smooth, aka the best bot. I feel like I haven't said that in forever. Unfortunately, the podcast we're not using the template that I had created because of some technical difficulties. I've kind of lost the option to do that due to one of my
so we get to see that nice icon of yours.
Yeah, so that's going to be
on the Xbox.
Hopefully in the next couple weeks or so, I'll be up and running like usual and can put out the content in the way that I want to put it out. At the moment, I can't. So Google Hangouts it is until I get a new secondary monitor. So
on the positive side, at least my icon shows up nice and big now, because before it was shrunk. It was shrunken on the other one.
You've never committed to like the videos, and there was nothing I can do about that.
Oh, okay.
Like the video, you bought a webcam and did not use it.
No, I just don't have a setup for it. I told you. It would be on an odd angle. I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay. Well, what's up, chat? I see Meds in there. Manuel, Craig from Friday. It sounds funny saying that. Mad Jack, Halo Storm, the Almighty Spartan God, Hardhead. Shout out to Hardhead. You know, Critic, are you interested in NBA Live?
Hell to the no.
Why is that?
I'm not.
Do you have a valid logical reason?
I don't think I play any sports game unless it's like an arcade, like NBA Jam style game. I don't usually
imagine NBA Live, right? It's like NBA Jam, but it's better. You know, take away.
Stop trying to sell me on this.
Take away the big heads and the flames and the lack of defense, and there you have it. NBA Live.
I'm working for Microsoft. You're working for the NBA. What is that? What was that? EA publishes that?
EA, even though EA comes under a lot of fire, did you know that NBA Live is probably the most consumer friendly franchise that they have? It's the only game, right, that like don't try to rape you with the microtransactions. Like, for example, like,
but I know what everyone's wondering, is that because they're actually consumer friendly or because they're losing?
No, but it's been like that for years, ever since the game like first made. Ever since Live 14, I haven't played like.
What was the last time that it was big? That NBA
the last time Live was big was like 2000, between 2003 and 2006, I believe. I know the last. Major live games is like 506 and whatnot.
Going back that far, were games even doing?
Yeah, but
they weren't even doing like microtransactions and loot boxes that way.
Really popping on consoles like that at that point where you're trying to sell people shit.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you really think that if they were still as big as they were, they wouldn't be doing loot boxes and microtransactions?
I mean, it's EA. They can put loot boxes in anything. It's just like. You have ever since the NBA Live
return. That's what I'm saying.
Live 14, Live 15, Live 16, Live 18. They don't feature, and they literally have the foundation to do it if they wanted to. They have the modes. They have the addicting as repetitive as like modes, like to build your character up. They have the tools literally there to where, like, you know, we can literally make people buy shit for sneakers or buy dunks or buy better 3-point shooting. They can literally do that if they wanted to, but no, all that stuff is locked behind playing the game. You have to play it. There's nothing you could. The only way you can literally spend money in NBA Live if you want to participate in Ultimate Team, which is an EA staple. But like put that in, mix that in with 2K, right? And maybe you're not into 2K, but all the stuff I was just mentioning to you, that live.
No, I'm not into either one. I just know
you would be paying for that just to get ahead faster in 2K. So,
I mean, listen. I'm not saying that they're not doing right now. I'm saying that I'm not so sure that's because they don't want to have that stuff. I think they don't feel like they can compete with 2K and have microtransactions. So they're trying to go that positive route. And I mean, that's not really that different from how I see what Xbox is doing.
It's been like
all their consumer services and all that stuff.
It's been 5 years. If you really wanted to, nothing's going to stop you from making money. It's been 5. You see how long they took like the microtransaction things out of Battlefront? It was what, a month? It's been 5 years. They could have easily.
Right, is this a topic?
No, it's just something that's been on my mind, and I wanted to like kind of ease in, until.
Well, you might want to do some intros.
We did intros.
I didn't get it. Well, you kind of just put me in there, but whatever. Yeah. So what are you saying?
No, I was just saying I just wanted kind of to ease in before while the chat builds up. But how you doing, Critic? Oh, I guess what I figured out how to do. I'm a retard for this because it took me forever.
Well, I just went through forever just trying to fix my Google Hangout for this. So let me know.
I figured out how to when the video is ending, to put like cards at the end of the video so your other videos can pop up for people to click on, and your channel icon for people to click on if they want to subscribe. So I was like, holy shit. So at the end of every PlayStation, like,
really? Because you need to teach me how to do that.
Well, I just learned that today, but yeah, I'll show you in like a video call, probably like later today or tomorrow. But I did I was like, so now at the end of every PlayStation podcast, I can put your YouTube channel like on it as we're like in it, so people can click on it and they can subscribe just right there. So
that's cool.
I was like, cool. And I'm gonna go back to the other PlayStation podcast that we did in the past and do the edit. So, but
yeah, it's definitely needed because gotta get those subscribers up on my side.
Yeah, please subscribe to Honest to Critic. He got some unique content there. And when I say
that is the key word. I love that. If I were to ask someone how I wanted my channel to be subscribed, that is the word I want used.
Really unique.
It's topic videos. It's me having fun. I just make some music videos with music that fits a game, but it's not from the game, because I was just explaining to someone that's kind of the point of the video.
Yeah.
And I have much more planned. If anything, I just need to get a real video editor so I can start doing some really good stuff.
Yeah. Let me answer Manuel's questions. Did you buy a new monitor? I saw the pic on Twitter. No, I did not buy a new monitor just yet. That's the only reason why we're doing this show via Google Hangouts. The thing about having just to express why having dual monitors is why I don't want to say I need it, because no one needs it, but it made things content-wise much easier. For example, the podcast, being able to work on multiple screens, allowing me to monitor the chat and the OBS quality. Actually, the only way I could do the podcast is with a dual monitor, because what happens is when you like want it to view a screen, you will always get the OBS. There's no way to eliminate OBS from the screen that you're trying to view. So I would move OBS to a different screen, so I would never have that problem.
And then you got peasants like me on the same, reading the chat on the same screen as I'm doing everything.
Yeah, and it also helped for like live streams and stuff like that. It just made things so much easier. So it's just gonna be like right now I'm gonna have to keep going from HDMI. Like now I'm gonna have to go from HDMI to console just to check the chat, or I have to keep my phone next to me to like when I live stream games and shit like that. And it's just gonna be annoying. But that's that. But hopefully we'll have that wrapped up and fixed up pretty soon. Hopefully in the next couple weeks.
I hear you, Cat Daddy. I'm sure live is fun. I've just never been into sports game in general. A lot of people just try to get me into it, especially Madden. But when it comes down to it, I don't know anything about sports. I'm not that guy. So I end up just not knowing even how to play the rules, even the basic like callouts. So You know, I played some
basketball is so much easier.
16.
Though. Madden, I can understand Madden. Like Madden, I just bullshit. I just play, and hopefully, when I throw the ball, someone catches it. And if they don't, I kind of just rage quit.
See, that's coming from you. You actually know. You actually know what all those plays are. I have no. I'm like clueless.
Yeah. But let's get into the first topic. The PlayStation and Spider-Man made some headlines with a couple things that they revealed the PlayStation 4 Pro and the PlayStation 4 Slim custom Spider-Man bundle, as well as a new story trailer that I did a reaction video for yesterday. But Critic, man, did you get to take a look at the trailer, and did you get to look at the console? If so, what are your thoughts?
The console is nice. I mean, okay, I really never cared about custom consoles. But I looked at this one and I'm just like, I like the fact it doesn't say Spider-Man on it. It's just the iconic, spider symbol. I kind of wish there was a little bit of blue in there, even if they put in the controller. That's probably the only thing I look at it. I'm just like, yeah, where's the blue? But besides that, it looks awesome, to the point where even I was just like, damn, I would actually consider replacing my Pro and getting that one. But which is saying something, because I usually don't go for that. But the trailer-wise, I've seen enough of Spider-Man. I skipped the trailer. I really don't. At this point, I'm just going to get the game. I don't need to see any more. I said that even before E3, even though I'm happy that they showed off all those villains, because I know a lot of people had that question, including myself. How many villains are going to be in it? But yeah, what do you think?
I mean, as far as the trailer, I saw the trailer. I was very impressed with how they put the trailer up. Somebody was complaining in the comments that I wasn't hype enough, and that they were mad that I was more hype for Halo Infinite. And when I first seen that, than I was for Spider-Man. And I didn't understand what the outrage was, because one, I've seen Spider-Man several times over the last 2 years, versus seeing Halo for the first time, like ever, at least in that form for the first time ever. So it was more of a shock value thing. Spider-Man, I was preparing myself to see what the trailer, see how hot it is. Does it make me want the game even more? So
yeah, I heard BG saying he thought it looked visual, like it got upgraded visually. Did you think it looked better or about the same as before?
The game, that's the thing. The game does look, from the latest trailer, it does look better. It does look a lot better. But the thing is, this is where I asked, is like, from the gameplay, it looks better than with the gameplay. But the thing is, these are cinematic trailers. This is a cinematic story cutscene. That's what it felt. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't see any part of that trailer that I would say.
But I will say this for Insomniac. They do tend to do their videos. Their cutscenes are similar to what their graphics look like. They're not usually too far apart.
Yeah. So, but as far as just to give you my thoughts, I thought the trailer was done very well. It reminded me of like going to the movies and seeing an upcoming attraction. Dude, if I went to a movie, right, and I saw that before like the main movie played up, like, yo, I can't wait to see the next Spider-Man. It's dope. That's how good the trailer was. They did a good job with that.
You mean Homecoming?
No, I'm just saying, it's like, if I was at a movie, right, going to the movies, and I saw that,
you mean, if you were seeing it, if you were thinking,
I would like, yo, I can't wait to go see the next Spider-Man. That's how it really hit me. I thought it was a dope trailer.
That sounds like that should be the goal. You want people to feel like this is the next big Spider-Man movie, because that's, at the end of the day, we've known Spider-Man more as a movie franchise than anything, just because that's how it. I don't know if that's how it got. Obviously, that's not how it got popular, but that's definitely how I got into Spider-Man, is through the movies. Going back to where Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man.
Yeah, I enjoyed his movies. I'm not gonna lie, sir.
Oh yeah,
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Except for the one that doesn't exist, which is that third one.
The third one, yeah, I wanted that to be great so bad, because they had
don't
like
speak of that one.
Yeah. Okay. But as far as the console itself, I know people are like, going crazy on this. I actually prefer the leak. Remember that fake one that posted like prior to E3? It was like,
I remember
Rambo posted it on the episode when we were doing the live reaction.
I remember seeing it, but I can't remember exactly what it looked like. So I don't know.
Let me see. Let me try to look for it without like. Let's see.
That'd be interesting to put up, just like a comparison of
just
what
where
it look like. But getting into while you're looking it up, I'll get into the controller. The controller is probably the only part of the whole package that I'm just like, they could have done more. Maybe they could have put the spider symbol on the controller too. Or I was thinking they could have had the blue on the controller around the back where the grips are, because there's like a part that a line that separates it. That would have been cool if they had a blue kind of grip there. Even if the console had no blue at all, it would have been nice if they did that with a controller.
Yeah, like where is it? Let me type in fake. Oh, because it's obviously fake now since it wasn't. There we go. This is the one. Let me see if is it showing up on the screen. Yeah, there we go. That's the one. That's the one I like that.
Okay, well, I'm just waiting because it's going to pop up in a second because you know how there's a delay.
Yeah, this is the one
okay, I see. Yeah. But that's very similar.
It's close. It's close.
It's very similar. I mean, yeah, I could see. You know what? If anything,
but it's gradient. It's a gradient. It's the material on the top of the PlayStation is similar to his suit, that gradient feel. And then you had the blades, which was that dark blue, and then the face button. I just thought that would be more of an effort. Even though the one that we got now is like, I just think it's really simplistic, pretty basic.
Yeah. I kind of like the color. I mean, I can see what you mean about the texture though, like the look of. But yeah, I like the color because this one looks a little bit slightly. You see how the newer one looks a little bit brighter.
Yeah,
like the red just kind of like, it kind of pops more. So I kind of like how they did the color. But yeah, it's pretty similar. Oh no, I think if you were hoping it was like that, you got something pretty close.
Yeah, I mean to me, I really don't just really care because the thing is that I'm not. I see a lot of people on Twitter. They're rushing out. They're buying it.
Oh yeah, shout out to OBJ. He was that man.
A lot of people. I mean, if
that man got to GameStop before Spider-Man, I was making a joke about that.
I think the last custom console I've purchased was the Batman themed PlayStation 4. It was either the Batman themed PlayStation 4 or the Star Wars themed PlayStation 4.
I remember the Star Wars one being.
I enjoyed the Batman one. I'm still kicking myself for getting rid of it. It was
and as much as I'm not a fan of Destiny, I remember the Destiny one looked pretty good.
That shit was garbage. Both of them was that.
Wasn't that the one that had like it was white with like the gold designs on it?
Yeah, I think both of those were like garbage. I think their last greatest effort was the Batman one. A lot of people like the God of War, and a lot of people like the Spider-Man one. But to me, the thing is like, if this was 2014, 2015, I probably would run out and go buy it. But I've since then grown. I've made a lot of financially dumb decisions. And the thing is, I could only buy that thing for one purpose, and that would be unboxing purposes. Otherwise, I wouldn't. There would be no use. There's no gain for me. It's a red console, so it doesn't look good in any of the furniture, whether it be in a living room or next to my current setup.
I mean, yeah, but
it would just be there. Like I don't know.
You could say that about almost any color that's not the usual black or I don't know what gray or something. I don't know. So it really, at the end of the day, you're buying it because you want it to pop. When you get that red Spider-Man, I mean, everyone knew it was going to be red.
I'm just curious: are people buying this Pro to replace their current Pro, or are they just adding to it?
Oh, I think it's always going to be a mix of both. I mean, I'm sure we already know. I already named a few people I saw on Twitter already run out that they obviously have Pros, and they're just exchanging them and getting that because they want that. I mean, it's a nice system. I cannot blame them. If anything, it even had me thinking about it, and I usually don't care at all for that. But
yeah. So I mean, as far as are you not going to day one that that's limited edition Spider-Man console?
Ah, man. Honestly, I was looking at it. I'm just like, should I? I was actually thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to, but but it's definitely the most tempting one I've seen this generation, at least.
Really? I thought the Batman one was so fucking sick.
You know, I don't know which you keep mentioning the Batman one. I didn't see that.
Yo, that shit, it was like this silver PlayStation console, and it had like the Batman.
I'm not gonna lie,
man, dude.
If it's silver, I'm already kind of like I do have like a weak spot for like a silver colored anything. I like silver, so maybe I just need to go back and see it. I haven't actually seen that one.
Yeah. The thing is that my thing about Spider-Man is that I've never had hype for Spider-Man. I've been more hype in Spider-Man movies, but that like I'm talking about like last 10 years, the Tobey Maguire ones. I mean, I've never been like a super fan of Spider-Man. So the thing is,
Uncharted 2 fanatic says MGS5 PS4. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah, that was dope too. But wasn't that limited to like Japan or some shit like that?
I was about to say that sounds like something.
I recall that one being super limited.
Because here's the thing: there are a few really, really dope consoles that have only come out in Japan.
Yeah,
I've seen one quick post, and then you're like, "Well, it's not coming out here," so moving on. So it's definitely it definitely has had more custom consoles than we actually have gotten.
Yeah. Now as far as Spider-Man goes, is that it's creeping into my anticipated list for the simple fact that there's a lot of games that have been delayed out of this year. And it's like Spider-Man and Red Dead are like pretty much tied for me. Even though I think I listed Red Dead in my top 5, if I had to put a game, it would either be Spider-Man or Red Dead. But my hype level for either of those games are not like that. It's not overwhelming. It's like I could go with or without them. The thing is that keeps me even simply interested in Insomniac, and not Insomniac, Spider-Man, is because of Insomniac. If anybody else is making this game, I don't think I would.
To be honest, I'm actually in the same. I'm actually with you on that because I've never actually played. I said before I haven't played a Spider-Man game before, but knowing Insomniac, I played a lot of Insomniac games and I love Insomniac games, and just knowing how they make their game. They make their games very polished and fun because it's Ratchet and Clank. Yeah. I just knew this is going to be a really fun looking game. As soon as I saw the gameplay, I'm just like, this just looks like a blast. Like, I didn't have to think much about it. I was just like, this, and everyone knows Spider-Man, so
it's good timing, especially because Marvel, right, and the Avengers, they're all at all-time high. So timing was impeccable with this deal. And the thing about what Insomniac is doing with Spider-Man, they are doing a good job with the theme. You know how I feel like, and people are gonna take this negatively, but I feel like there's a certain theme with PlayStation's like first party exclusives. I feel like I feel like even Spider-Man, even though it's a different game, it's no Days Gone or Last of Us. No,
it looks similar to other.
It's not even looking similar. It's this theme. It's like I can't explain it. Like I can name you all their games that are like whether they're different or not. It's just theme. It's even though
you know what? There's a theme. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The theme isn't in the gameplay, which is what people keep saying. It's in the cinematics. They're all
that's what it is. That's what it is. The cinematics,
because PlayStation are the masters of cinematic games, and like even games. And here's the thing, right? Even God of War is a cinematic masterpiece, but it's super gameplay focused, which is what a lot of people seem to forget is that even though it has amazing cinematics, the graphics look amazing, the story is amazing. It is a very much gameplay focused game. Because let me ask you something: what do you do most of the time in God of War, kid?
Fighting.
Exactly. It's all combat. You fight waves and waves of enemies, but it's done in such a way, and the story is so engrossing that it never gets stale, it never gets repetitive. It's supplemented by an amazing skill tree and a lot of surprises, which obviously I don't want to get into any spoilers. But that's the thing that people forget. It's like there's nothing wrong. And here's the thing: when it comes to PlayStation, they make my favorite games because they're the most balanced, right? You have Nintendo, too gameplay focused, right? PC, very online centric and gameplay focused. Xbox, very multiplayer and online focused. You know, they not that they don't do stories, they just don't go 100% in on the story, you know what I'm saying? But then you have Sony and they have this balance. And it's just how's it not going to stand out? You have the best of both worlds. Amazing cinematic experience matched with equally amazing gameplay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was a speech.
Oh, so
yeah, not bad if I went out.
I think their cinematics are great. I mean, I won't say all their games delivered like the greatest gameplay. That's just me personally.
Well, it's not about because not every game is equal. I'm just saying there's a balance there. You know what I'm saying? Like when you play a Nintendo game, it's very gameplay, but on the cinematic side, on the story side, is never as big. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something there. There's a balance that PlayStation Sony games they carry that balance. You know, they do it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, the game looked like it's shaping up very well. Only a couple, maybe what we were like 6 weeks, maybe away, 6-7 weeks. But like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'll play it. The only negative.
And by the way, Life in Time podcast, you definitely can be too story focused because I love Metal Gear Solid 4, but holy shit. It's like watching a whole movie in between a game. Those cutscenes were ridiculously long.
That's why I can't play his games.
Yeah, so there is such a thing as too much story focus.
Yeah, the only thing about it's like September is going to be crazy because the thing is that balance, right? Balance. I'm going to have to buy this, and
that's the theme of this podcast today. Balance. Let's go.
So Spider-Man comes out September 7th, and NBA Live comes out September 7th.
Yeah, we're gonna play a game. The game is called "Try Not to Be Broke by the End of the Year."
I gotta buy 2 copies of NBA Live 19.
Hey, no one's saying that my Metal Gear Solid 4 isn't a classic. I'm just saying there was way too much focus on cutscenes, and they were very long. Yeah. Go ahead.
You gotta have 2 copies of NBA Live, and then the next week, a Shadow of the Tomb Raider comes out, which is like just freaking day one, regardless.
See, there's to me, there's so many games. Like I know you're a big fan of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but that's an easy pass for me.
Well, yeah, of course it's an easy pass for you. It's not as an easy pass for me, but I mean,
I'm not saying it. No, because I'm not saying it's not a great game. It's just there's something about the Tomb Raider games that it's never just my hype level is never ridiculous.
See, the thing about Tomb Raider and Uncharted, they fill a void for me, like, and that I don't get in gaming a lot. No, there's not a lot of Tomb Raider / Uncharted type games. You only get those and those. So the thing is, I like those games. There's not many of them, and like. You're not gonna get that in like games like Just Cause and stuff like that. You're not gonna get it's just games that are like just focused on that, just have this balance of third-person shooting, action, adventure, like you know what I mean. Puzzles. It doesn't have. There's not many games that do it, so I'm limited really to Uncharted and Tomb Raider. And since I'm only gonna get to play those games every 2 to potentially 3 years, like they easily become like at top of the line for me. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get it because the first Tomb Raider I thought was awesome, right? And then the second one came out, it was Xbox exclusive for a year. At that time, I didn't have an Xbox, so my hype died by the time it released, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now this new one is coming. It's not made by the same devs. It's not Crystal Dynamics anymore. So once again, my hype went down even lower. So it's almost like it just keeps happening one way or another. My hype for the game ends up dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I
still want to play it though, down the line, of course.
Yeah, like I said, so that I'm looking forward to it. So I don't even know like if some of these games like it didn't. The crazy thing is, what else is coming out? And
let me ask real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
does it bother you that it's being made by another developer, or do you think it's going to be, more of the same? And you're happy with that?
It bothers me. It does concern me a little bit. That the Crystal Dynamics is not the ones like behind it, because the last two ones that I enjoyed very much were heavily pushed by Crystal Dynamics. And so that's the thing. That's going to be the drawback. I'll know within like the first 2 hours of the game.
You think there's a sign that they're moving on because it just hasn't been what they wanted it to be, and they're kind of just passing it on, and they're looking to do other stuff at this point. Like they're never going to come back
with another Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I mean, like by Crystal Dynamics.
By Crystal Dynamics. I mean, I don't know, man.
It's looking that way.
It depends. If this game turns out to be like a C-rated game, like to me, like I don't give a damn about what the critics, but if it like becomes like a C-rated where I like it less and less than the other two, and then I see that the public opinion is more in line with my opinion, and it's like looked at negatively, then I'm like, yeah, they kind of just threw this one out there because they're done, I hope that's not the case, because there is room for Tomb Raider and games like Tomb Raider. Because it's like people are like, I don't like Tomb Raider. It's like, all right, so what are you going to do? Just wait once every 4 or 5 years for Uncharted? Like, no, I need the balance.
Yeah, and real quick, Life in Time podcast. I hear you. Metal Gear Solid 5 definitely was the opposite. Too much gameplay, not enough story. I agree with that. I was hoping with Metal Gear Solid 5 we'd get a balance. Because like I was saying, the balance to me is important when it comes to story and games. But yeah. Moving on to a new topic, or?
Yeah. Next topic is, I'm sorry, I had just got like a tweet. You before we went live, you were speaking of like The Last of Us, and I'm kind of curious of what, like you said, a companion, because any of the trailers I've seen, I don't think we saw a companion.
Yes. Well, a lot of people probably already know this, but they've come out and said, I don't know if it was in an interview, but you're going to have a companion throughout the game. And I remember them saying something about tweeting out a picture of a dog being mocapped, and I'm just like, yeah, I think it's got to be that. It's got to be the dog that's going to be your companion throughout the game.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think they want someone else to be there with Ellie throughout the entire game. I think they want someone that's kind of like, that's not going to be so much chiming in, like into conversation, because this isn't Uncharted. This isn't about those conversations, and this isn't the first one, Last of Us either. They're definitely they want to take this a much darker route, and in a way, I could see a dog being of some kind of like relief for the viewer or for Ellie herself, like having that dog there. And, I was actually thinking about this, and I'm like, imagine they took some ideas from God of War and they made it for where you can have a dedicated button for commands for the dog or for attacking, kind of like you have with God of War and Atreus.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Make the dog bite, bark, sniff?
Possibly, possibly, and maybe sniff out enemies, so you can kind of like strategize, maybe.
Okay, but they didn't show that in the trailer, but the gameplay.
Oh, they definitely did. But I mean, but we don't. No, they didn't.
Oh.
I'm just going on. This is all speculation because they tweeted out a picture of a dog being with like the mocap suit on, and then they talk about this companion, and I'm just like, I don't think it's going to be another person. I think a dog would be, I think they would go that direction. I just have a feeling. It's just a feeling.
I mean, it'd be more if you're not going to use another person. Who else? A dog? Maybe a horse.
Yeah, no, of course.
Maybe it's a horse, dude.
A horse?
Yeah.
I mean, anything, but it's possible. I don't know. I just see the dog being it. Kind of just makes sense.
Okay. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it'd be easier to do. It's dogs are sentimental. Very sentimental. And we don't know. I mean, whatever. We don't know. I guess we don't. Do we know what happened with Joel?
Plus, you know what? You remember the complaints from the first Last of Us, where your character was just running out, and obviously they should have been spotted.
Mm-hmm.
A dog can be less, you know, a dog won't draw as much attention just walking around as a person would, you know. So it'll be a little easier to believe if they spot the dog and don't react, right?
I mean, so I mean that would be an interesting choice, or interesting reason for that choice.
No, I don't think that's the reason. I'm just saying
no, because
it could be, it just could be one of those things that just works out with what they want to do.
No, because it reminds me of the thing that we were talking about on Weapon Wheel when Amy Hennig, they said that she designed when Drake gets shot, he's actually not getting shot. Those are luck. Like I don't know. You guys know more of the lore of the Uncharted series than I do, but it was like,
yeah, someone like, saying
dog
will be the new listen mode hacks. Yeah, I could see that too. Like it being a form of listen mode using the dog.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that just whatever happened to me on playing Xbox wasn't happening again. My mic just randomly mutes itself.
Okay. Yeah, someone was saying that the dog could be the new listen mode.
Oh, that makes sense. But
I could see that. That also would explain why you didn't see the listen mode in the demo. When you get the dog later on in the story, maybe that's when you get that feature unlocked. You know?
Yeah,
it makes sense.
What are your thoughts on the whole like Uncharted situation since we're on the topic of Naughty Dog with how Drake was him being shot?
The whole luck. It makes sense. It makes sense, but here's the thing: like, obviously, you could go both ways. You can say this is just them making this stuff up, because at the end of the day, when you take damage, it's blood on your screen, or your screen goes red, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If they wanted it to be more obvious, they could have had like little verbal cues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drake could have been saying, "Oh, my luck is running out," or something similar to that, or like, you know, and maybe then it would be. I'm sure a lot of people look at that and be like, they're just making that stuff up. It's possible. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense when you look at the franchise as a whole, because a lot of the situations, a lot of the set pieces in the game, you're just like, this guy is lucky. This guy is like, how is he's running into a building with like 50 people that's falling down, and he's the only one that walks out alive, you know?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. And it would be interesting if they actually tried to make it more of a feature in a future, you know, game. Not saying it has to be Uncharted.
But that breaks the immersion of video games. If you're trying to rationalize,
actually, to be honest, it adds. I actually have the opposite opinion. I think it adds, because if you look at these games, it's hard to believe they're taking so many shots and surviving.
But it's a game. Like it's like okay now.
No, I get it, but adding that whole luck thing at least gives you kind of like some type of believability to the fact that he can survive taking all these shots.
I mean, I get it, but it shouldn't be like explainable. I mean, video games don't have to be that realistic. See, it's like I get it. There's no explanations for like the likes of Tomb Raiders and what happens with freaking Drake and the Uncharted series, or even fucking the Last of Us per se. But you can explain shit that happens in, like, let's say Gears of War or Halo or Killzone, because everybody's armored, right? So it's like,
I know, kid, you like your armor.
I mean, it's just like when you have to rationalize and be like, well, we have to have an explanation of why this person can survive. Now you're like really just breaking the creativity of the game. But
we also know that doesn't fit the theme of Uncharted, the character that he is. He's an adventurer. He's not going to be wearing armor unless he's an adventurer in like a sci-fi world.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he has to wear armor or anything. I'm like that. I'm just saying I don't feel like they need an explanation.
I'm not saying they need to do this. I'm not saying this is
bullets and surviving falling buildings and mountains.
I don't think this is something that should be or could be used in any game. I'm just saying it fits Uncharted as what Uncharted is, as the type of game it is. Yeah. Adventure game.
I mean, it's still good. Ain't nothing gonna change the shit. So
no, I mean, really, no one even knew about this because it wasn't something that was just out there. It wasn't obvious, so it really doesn't change anything.
Yeah, I mean, like I thought I ain't gonna lie, sir. Like the first thing I said when I heard about that was like, this is exactly how you properly damage control. It was unnecessary. It wasn't needed because I don't feel like anybody was asking the question, so I understand why they needed the explanation, because it just now raises a bunch of questions and other theories, but I don't think it's really necessary. You know, I don't think they had anything like to prove or anything to explain.
I agree. I agree. If Drake found armor, he'd probably use it. I mean, yeah. In the middle of
an adventure, they put those big ass tanks in certain parts of the game. They got on fucking helmets and.
But if he did do that, it would be part of the story. Like he would do it, and then he wouldn't have the armor on for the rest of the game. You know, he would just kind of use it for one situation and then move on from it.
Yeah, but I can't imagine him with like armor on. I can imagine him with vest, but
I wouldn't
full blown armor. Nah,
well, you know, it would be like a knight's armor, because obviously it's based on, you know, adventures and history. So it wouldn't be like actual like the armor we would imagine.
Yeah,
it would be some like really old armor or something.
All right. Another thing is that that we got to talk about is that I got into it a couple of times with a couple people on Twitter regarding PlayStation. One of the things that was going around last week, and this is why I was hoping Rambo would be in here, because he also tweeted something in relation to this, was people were sharing the image of the UHD DVD, Blu-ray disc sales or their market share, and being that it's the lowest compared to Blu-rays and standard DVDs leading the pack in market share.
Yes, which for some reason people keep saying that they were thanking Sony for this, which I'm like, okay, I don't see anyone thanking Sony.
People were saying that it was more of the tweets.
Yeah, it was more of saying they were smart.
We're smart for not going with the UHD drive in the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I'm like, well, how does that make sense? It's not like once you put a UHD drive in there that it's incapable of utilizing standard DVDs and Blu-rays. It's not the case at all. It's just
the point is, though, if you're a gamer, you know, or you're a consumer, why do you care what's smart for them? Because that's smart as a business move, but it's not good for the consumer. It's not good for you.
Yeah, this is
the system. So I mean, yes. Ultra Blu-rays aren't doing well, mostly because that's how it goes. When these new types of formats come out, they're expensive as hell. So of course they aren't going to sell as well as the older formats, which are good enough to most people, like a regular Blu-ray. So yes, it makes sense. But at the same time, you know, you're a consumer, you should want more, not less.
Yeah.
So it led to a bad perception too, because everyone who reviewed the system was just like, well, that's the one thing that keeps it from being, you know, a true 4K device, is that you can't play 4K movies on it. So there was definitely some bad perception on that too. It wasn't just the fact that, you know, they just decided not to put it in, but it was also how it looks to not have that in their newest device, especially since they own the format.
Yeah, and that's always, like, somebody went as far as to tell me that if Microsoft owned the format, they wouldn't put it in their console. I'm like, Microsoft puts its own games on other platforms. Why wouldn't they put their own DVD drive in there?
Yeah,
like,
there's a reason why there's an app there's an app that you have to go through on Xbox. There's a reason for that. But I'm just like, okay, that I understand as a business decision. That was a great decision for Sony, because not only did they avoid, you know, it's not the hugest market that they could make money in, but obviously they have their own Blu-rays, which weren't having, you know, they weren't having it sales taken away by the PS4 Pro. So, you know, they saved their own devices from losing money while still selling.
See, I don't get that, but like, how is it that it becomes it's like they save their own device, but you still have another device that you could sell that has it. So it's like, where is it a lose? Where do you lose in that situation?
Making it standalone is a lot more cost effective for them, and it also makes them more money because it's usually more expensive. So like when those 4K Blu-ray players were first coming out, they were really expensive. You know, they weren't cheap. I mean, still today, now you can probably compete with Xbox's 4K Blu-ray. Now there's reasonable prices out there, but back then, you know, it was pretty expensive, and they didn't want to have their system come out and take away from sales that they could be making on their own Blu-ray players, on their own 4K Blu-ray players. I mean, as a business decision, it makes sense. It's just as a business decision,
but as a consumer, I really don't care about their business decisions at that point. Like, I don't care what's best for you. I care what's best for me.
Yeah, as a consumer, you should just.
It just shocked me that people were running around with the idea. Well, I'm glad they didn't make this decision. So you're glad that you can't watch UHD disc on your console? Like what?
I didn't. That's the thing, though. That's what everyone keeps saying. I don't see people saying they were glad, dude. I see them saying it was a good,
smart, or a good decision. But I'm like, to me, if I was upset that the Xbox 360 at the time in 2005, I knew Blu-ray wasn't ready, but HD DVD was, and I know HD DVD didn't win. But for games, they would never have had an issue with putting games on multiple discs because the HD DVD drive itself, the disc itself, was big enough to hold the storage at the time, right? So I was mad that they were using the dual layer DVD, and I'm like, well, why didn't they do at least keep? Sure, you're gonna, maybe Blu-ray's gonna win, but at least you have the technology so when you don't have an issue with game storage, you'll be fine on that, and you'll be totally fine on that one. It's just that for DVDs, and then you can come up with a Blu-ray add-on if needed, or you know, they already were slowly getting the digital phase on there, so it's like you can take the L on the disc drive.
And by the way, I'm Jay God. I'm not a guest. I'm a co-host, and even if they don't own Blu-ray, and they have a stake in it, that's still more than Microsoft.
Yeah, so that's why
Microsoft the Slim has a 4K Blu-ray player.
Yeah. So my thing is like I thought, even though to add HD DVD as an add-on, like a USB plug-in to the Xbox 360, it was a better decision for Microsoft because it was no risk, low risk, high reward. Because if HD DVD failed, it's whatever. They don't got to sell the add-on anymore or anything. It's like it's not like they're stuck with it, you know. They don't have to remodel their console after it. So but it wasn't something I was celebrating. I was still mad at the fact that like there's a chance that a game in the future is going to have to be played on multiple discs, and eventually it happened. So that's why that's how my take was when I first learned about that. And that was just really timing. The 360 came out too early. It was to usher in really HD, and then the PlayStation 3 was coming in right in time as like the Blu-rays and stuff. Which I have a question. So why are they worried about UHD, right? Disc, right? PlayStation 4 Pro eating into those cells, but weren't worried about PlayStation 3 cells eating into their Blu-ray drives, Blu-ray player cells.
With me, I'm more thinking about the timing, right? I think that the timing, Sony looks at 4K, right? Mm-hmm. And they feel like it at that time when the Pro came out, it's still too early. And at that time I agreed with them. You know, like the 4K, it's too early for 4K. The Blu-rays, the thing, it was just too early. Mm-hmm. So they probably look at this as a mid-gen system, right?
Yeah.
This is not the next PlayStation. This is not PS5. For example, like I know that the next PS5 will definitely have the 4K drive. I just think that they look at this as timing, right? Not only is it not a good idea for us to do this, but right now the timing isn't right for 4K Blu-rays, and it is what it is. I mean, if you look at the results, if you look at the sales, mm-hmm. they're not wrong about that. You know, 4K Blu-rays and 4K in general, it hasn't taken over the market just yet. By the time the next systems come out, though, it'll be in a much better position. You know, have much better market penetration.
I agree. I mean, I definitely agree, but I just don't agree with the decision, and that's always going to be my case, just as a consumer.
Well, yeah, as a consumer, you should just expect, like it was one of those things where people just assumed it was going to be there, and when it wasn't, I mean, at the end of the day, we play games for game. We play a console for games. So did it bother me? No, I really didn't give a shit. I mean, I have the Xbox Slim. I've never bought a 4K movie, But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't want these things, as an option. So it doesn't really bother me. I don't really care. But at the same time, you're a consumer. You don't work for Sony. Most of these people saying that do not work for Sony.
Yeah. So,
shout out to Dark Cloud, who would defend it though. But he actually works for Sony, so I'll give him that. I'll give him a pass on that.
Quick, just glance at the chat. I just want to give a shout out to people that probably weren't here earlier. A shout out to Jason Elliott, Merc 305, my playing Xbox COG there. Brethren COG.
People really flip out over COG. I don't get it.
Yeah, people. Yeah, the whole COG term. Blandrew, what's up? Gideon, J Got. Yeah. So I mean, as far as like, did you have any thing else you wanted to highlight?
Yeah,
we missed a couple of weeks. I apologize for that. That's like all my fault. So
I know no one wants to hear about No Man's Sky, but I'm not gonna lie. After this new update, adding multiplayer, like up to like 4 people playing together, I actually might check out the game.
I want to check out the game. I just don't want to do it for $50. So I'm gonna hit up. What's that dude, Sean Murray? See if he can give me a review key. Otherwise, I'm not touching that shit for $50 if it's $10 on PlayStation. I mean,
exactly. You could get it on PlayStation. It's gonna get the update. That's the whole point of me even mentioning it, is that you can. Yeah, this is gonna be for Xbox as well as PlayStation. It's gonna have the update. Because when I got it for I had the game. I just haven't played it. I got it for like $10.
Yeah. So the thing is like. I can buy it on PlayStation. I just would rather not.
I mean, I understand wanting to play on your platform.
No, I just don't. I don't plan on playing a game like by myself. So there's chance that I'm probably going to play with more people on Xbox. The thing is, I never planned on buying it for Xbox to begin with, because I didn't buy it for a PlayStation. I was going to buy it for the PC, but I don't know why I didn't.
Do you think they're wasting their time releasing this game on Xbox?
If I don't think they're wasting their time if this update is as big as it's supposed to be. Because I mean, apparently, what the game that came out on PlayStation a couple years ago versus the game that Xbox gamers are getting today is probably dramatically different. So I mean, at some point, I mean, it should have been on Xbox, but yeah, but I don't think they're wasting their time.
People talk about it as if the game is already dead before it arrived. Even people who are, Xbox guys, they're just like, well, this game already died before. No one cares about it now.
I mean, hey, it might find. I think it could find new life. It could potentially find new life. Who knows?
I mean, I know a lot of people think it's unforgivable of Hello Games after that release. But I mean, I do feel like they deserve a second chance. They actually
we've given plenty of games a second chance. We've given Rainbow Six, The Division. At least they're
exactly.
I mean, they're doing it the right way. They didn't give up.
The funny thing is, the only reason why this game isn't getting a second chance the way that a lot of those other games were is because those games are very multiplayer centric. You know what I'm saying? Like this new update will make it multiplayer co-op, but we both know it's not the same as the style like Siege. It's a different style of game. So it being the type of game it is, more of a single player adventure game, that's why a lot of these people are not going to give it a chance.
Absolutely. That makes sense.
See what I see? Yeah. OBJ, No Man's Sky's due to the end.
Yeah, but like I said, I would like it. I would like to try it. I just don't feel like spending anything significant for it. And right now, $50 at this point is still significant for it. I mean, let's see if it blows up. I mean, hey, but I should always be open to do it because I could be that. I feel like there's always like a game that can help out creators, or a creator that can help out a game, and you always want to be that opportunity. So that's why I try to take chances on certain games. But
and real quick, the D Almighty, it released. Yeah, if you bought it on PlayStation, I could understand, you not wanting to give them another chance. But this is releasing to Xbox as a new game. It's basically completely redone from what it was before. So, I mean, I'm saying that on Xbox, people should give it a chance. If you don't give it a chance on PlayStation, I understand that.
Yeah,
it came out the way it did, and you only get one first impression. But this is Xbox's first impression, so I feel like it's a different situation.
No, that makes sense. I completely agree. What's up? And I need you for the updates on H1Z1. I haven't played that game. What's going on? What's the news in that game?
Okay. Let's see. Well, we missed it a while ago, but they reached 10 million player base. By now, it's probably higher than that. And of course, they updated with now you can actually revive your friends when you play with them, because you actually couldn't revive them before. If someone got shot down, poof, they're gone. But now you can actually revive them. They crawl. I think they crawl on the ground the same way as most BR. So now it's basically on that standard of other BRs. And I think they added one new weapon, which, if I remember right, it's some kind of airstrike. But this was a few weeks back, so yeah. And it seems to be doing good.
Awesome.
Seems to be doing good. I mean,
I don't get it.
I play more.
Is it considered a beta or just a free game?
I mean,
does it have like trophies?
I mean, a lot of these games are both, aren't they?
Well, but the thing is, because you know how PlayStation have like
it's going to be free to play. It's going to be free to play though. It's even if it gets a release, I don't think they're going to charge for it. I'm pretty sure it's free to play.
The thing is, isn't this considered a preview though?
No, not really. I don't think it's considered a preview, because on PC it had already released. I think on PC it released. I'm not 100% though. Maybe they can correct me in the chat. But they made it free to play on PC as well. So this game is definitely not going to be charged for later on if they decide to bring it out of beta or whatever it's in. But this is it's a fun alternative. If you're tired of the same old Battle Royale, if you like Battle Royale to begin with, because a lot of people just hate on it, it's a fun alternative to playing, Fortnite. It's a different experience. So it's not bad. I definitely have fun with it. I'd say just play in a group. Don't play by yourself. The more people, the merrier.
All right.
But they still don't. I don't think they have any way of marking the map still. It's been a bit since I played it, and that's a problem. You can't mark in where you're going to land or anything on the map when you do land. That is probably one of its biggest issues.
Okay. Because the thing that surprised me is that this game, does it have trophies in that game?
I don't think so. I can't remember if I've seen any trophies pop, because I'm not all about the trophies, but yeah, I can't remember if I've seen any
I
trophies
just think
pop.
it's like, well, why can't PUBG be on the like on the PlayStation? Like, because I feel like there's a couple of games that went on PlayStation without being like, you got Ark, I think when it was able to end up landing on the PlayStation eventually.
That's why I'm saying the only known example I've seen of that is what you said, is Ark. That's literally the only known example of a game that was clearly not out of early access, and they still put it on PlayStation. But I think with that situation, they probably talked to PlayStation and told them, listen, we're guaranteed to have a retail release of this game by a certain period. Yeah. And they made an exception.
Okay.
And they did release it not too long after.
Yeah.
So maybe that was a one-time deal. I don't think this is the same case.
Okay, but were there anything else popping in the news? Any questions from the chat? I see Grinds Magia has made it here. I did not mean to rhyme, but I did. OBJ, the Don says PUBG is trash. The end.
Yeah, he says it's. Yeah, Jess says it's an open beta.
It's an open beta. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So never mind.
Yeah, it's with all these terms nowadays: early access, open beta, closed beta. All that's. I mean, there's a lot of things being thrown around to the point where you don't know what's released, what's finished, what's not finished.
Yeah, either way, we're playing unfinished games, regardless. I mean, there's a large portion of the games we play that are actually unfinished.
Well, there's a difference between a game being unfinished and a game being added to. You know what I'm saying? There's games that have like a good ground, they have a good structure, and then they just add to it.
All right. So,
there we go. What's up with the culling? Yes, the culling too.
What
a disaster! Holy
man!
Oh man!
That sucks.
It puts that other game to shame. You know which one? It puts Lawbreakers to shame. It's crazy. I didn't think we'd see something go down in flames faster than Lawbreakers.
Yeah, this is man.
It's not as high level. Quicker. It's not as highbrow because obviously not Epic Games, Clint Blasinski being behind the other one, it made it a bigger deal.
It made a bigger deal. Of course.
These are smaller devs, but
yeah. And they probably didn't deserve it. But I honestly didn't even know that the first color was out of.
You mean Lawbreakers?
No, I said they didn't deserve it. The calling guys.
Oh, I don't know about that. See, I
didn't think the first culling. I didn't know that left preview for them to make a culling too.
The reason why they might deserve this total failure is because they just completely just went out and made the same game that everyone else is making instead of just making the game that they already made and actually expanding on it or making a sequel to it. Because this isn't the culling. Now I know you haven't played the culling. But the culling is a first.
No, I played the culling. I played it while I was in preview, and I didn't play it again. And the next thing I know, there's a culling 2.
So if you've seen culling 2, you'd be like, "What is this game? It looks nothing like culling at all. It looks nothing like the original. It doesn't have the first person aspect. It's not melee focused.
Yep.
Like like the first culling was awesome. You had this focus on you start out with nothing, but you can craft smaller weapons, and then you build up to bigger weapons like guns. So the guns were still there, but you have to work for it, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got these. Then they come in and they just turn calling into the same old battle royale. Like what are you thinking? Like you had a unique premise. You had charm. The culling had like humorous announcements. It had a lot of like charm, and then you throw that all away to what? To make the same old H1Z1 PUBG clone that we've played already? Like, what are you thinking? Like, what are they thinking? I don't see how this couldn't have been a failure. I completely have the opposite opinion of that. I don't see how it couldn't have been a failure. And I'm not saying nothing towards the game itself, because as a shooter, as a PUBG style games, I don't know if it's good as that, but I can tell you that they had a distinguished game before. They had a unique game in the Battle Royale, genre. It stands out, and they just threw it all away.
Yeah, I do remember the calling being a first-person game in Melee.
I played when I first got my Xbox. You were seeing me. I was playing the calling with my with my friend on there. We were just playing the culling all the time.
I didn't like it, to be honest. I didn't like.
Well, it's a game where you have to learn as you go. You don't you have to learn what to craft and stuff like that. There's a learning curve that if you don't get into it, you're not going to see what's appealing about it. It takes a while to click. But once it clicks, it's awesome. It's an awesome battle royale game.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's I guess I'm really sick of games like these experimental.
I just don't think BR is your genre, dude. I really don't think.
I'm not into BR until I get a proper. Once there's like I think I can get into Fortnite. The problem with Fortnite, I don't like the main aspect of it, and that's building.
Well, then that's basically it for you.
So it's like I'm waiting for one of these battle royale games, right? That isn't Fortnite to hurry up and get finished as a done game, and then I can jump in. I'm sick of beta testing. I am sick of beta testing. Like I don't want to beta test unless I'm legitly beta testing a game that's coming out, like a legit game that's coming out next year. You know what I mean? I don't want to beta test like.
Well, see, that's what you're just saying. What you just said, though, part of the reason why Fortnite is as popular as it was is because it did come out in a really good state, right? It was right from the beginning. It ran well. It wasn't 60 right at the beginning, but it ran well and it looked. It was good. It was in a good position to just take over. Because when you compare it to what PUBG looks like on Xbox, holy cow, man! It Fortnite just looked like it had freaking glitter on it, shined so much compared to how it ran on on freaking Xbox.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember you talking about it back then when they first had it. Like,
but to be fair, bigger depths. Obviously, Epic Games. They have more experience. They have more money. They have bigger staff. So
they treat that game like a fucking like a weekly sitcom. They're just always up to fucking date. It's like something can happen right now that's trendy that will be in a game in the next 3 days.
And no matter how you feel about Fortnite, you have to respect that.
I respect that.
They support the hell out of that game.
Nothing against Fortnite itself. I have no. My bias against it is just that. I don't think I'll ever be good because it's like even if I get shooting down pat, I have to build, and I don't want to do that.
I'm in the same boat. I mean, I'm not amazing at building in Fortnite, and I still play it here and there because it's still a fun game. But for those people who were into Minecraft, this is their new addiction.
Yeah,
the whole building aspect is Fortnite. Without that. It's like the funny thing is we were just talking about the culling, right? If you asked me before the Culling 2 released, what makes the culling, I'd say it's the melee focus. And look what they did. So Fortnite, it's the building. You take building away from Fortnite, it's very generic all of a sudden, right? But the devs of culling decided to take away their one unique feature, and look what happened.
Yeah. But
definitely rest my case on that one.
Yeah, no, but I think somebody mentioned, I think OBJ says Battle Royale should be treated like nothing more than a game mode added to a multiplayer game.
Oh, it will be. It will be.
I absolutely fucking agree. Yeah. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that.
But here's the thing, though. Who's to say they're not doing that? Because a lot of these Battle Royale games are either free or they're very cheap. They're discounted games. So you can say they're like a mode that's being packaged. Because I know PUBG charges $30, but a lot of Battle Royale games are cheaper than that.
Yeah.
Like looking at Culling 2, even though it failed, it was $20. The original was $25. Most of the time they're already discounted because they know they're not a full game.
Yeah, they're single modes though. These games should be like $10 or free.
I think $20. I think it's a fair price. I think $20.
Dude,
it depends. It depends on the game and how much polish. Here's the problem. It's not that it's a single mode. The problem is that you don't have multiple.
What if we took all the modes from Gears of War, right, and just gave us Warzone or Execution?
See, that would be fine if you had multiple maps and content. That's the real problem. Is that most of these Battle Royale games don't have multiple maps. And you don't have that many. It's not that much variety when it comes to that. I think that's what makes it a little bit of a hard ask when it comes to how much you're asking for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, besides that, the games are, I think $20 isn't a crazy ask. I mean, I think Culling, the original Culling was $25, and that might be a little bit stretching it, but I think $20 would have been a perfect price for that game. I think it would have been great
for 20 for what?
For the original Culling. Not the second one.
Okay.
Okay. Don't have a heart attack.
But no. On that note, no, it's time for us to get out of here. I want to remind them because if you're not watching this live, when you're watching this on demand, it's going to pop up on the screen right about this time. Let the people know where you're going to find you, because you actually got a channel. Your actual channel is like out. It's done, and you got videos up there.
And you caught me by surprise of the last episode where you asked me about it. I was going to wait till the end to just talk about it. That's why I didn't have much of a reaction. But yes, I have a channel, same name, Honest to Critic, where I talk about a lot of gaming topics, mostly topics. I don't just talk about the news. I go into actual discussions, which I'm hoping more people will join in, so I can actually have some more back and forth. It's right now, it's more like I'm just putting out the videos and there's not much going on. But I also do a lot of other types of videos. I plan on doing segments, like I have a music video segment where I take a game and mix it with music I like. A lot of anime style music, but also I plan on doing more. And many more topics, many more segments that I'm working on to come. Yeah, and there's definitely some anime in there. It's not just gaming, which I want to point out. I gotta start with my anime videos, to be honest. I gotta start putting them out. It's mostly because I don't have I don't have an actual editing program. That's really what's kept me from going into like more in-depth videos with anime and games. But yeah.
All right. And well, the link will be in the description below it, and also you should probably be seeing it at this time if you're watching this like on demand and not live. But one thing, you guys for tuning in who came through and watched us live, episode 4 Playing PlayStation will be back next Friday, same time, same place. And if you're interested, want to know what happened to the old template, that's still a thing. However, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know I lost the monitor, and that secondary monitor was major key.
Yeah, there was an earthquake only in a kid's apartment.
how
we're all speculating. We're just making up our own.
My podcast and streams work. It's it, man. Things happen. It is what it is, though. So once I get back up and running properly, we'll bring back the template. But thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. Hope you guys have a good day and enjoy whatever games you're playing. And we'll see you guys next week.
And hit that like button. Thank you for coming out. It was a lot of fun. Let's do this. Let's do this again soon. And hopefully Rambo will be here.
Yep.